Yeah.
LSD?
No, yeah. I wish.
Experiment.
No, they got some, and it's really doing well. I'm really surprised because most of the stuff that I take doesn't really help. But it's some kind of a growth. It grows skin, so I'm happy with it. Yeah.
I'd like to call this June meeting of the Lawrenceburg Board of Zoning Appeals to order.
What's up, Jimmy?
John, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Rudy Ramey,
Here.
Bobby Mills,
Here.
Jim Crook,
Here.
Owen Cross,
Here.
Scott McLean,
Here.
Attorney Thomas Blondell,
Here.
and myself.
Can we review the minutes, please?
If the board would like to take time to review the minutes and then put a motion out to accept
Want me to
or
read it?
change.
No, you don't have to read it.
I saw one change in them.
What you got?
It was on the height of the silos that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking here it said 54 feet, and I believe they were 45 feet.
The one was 54, I believe, on height as far as the application was concerned. There was 3 different ones. I think the one was the 54 that they were asking for the variance on.
Yeah.
Our max is 45.
That's
We're
correct.
fine with 54.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
correct.
54 is what's available.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah, 9 foot taller than the
Gotcha.
maximum.
I was absent for this. Yeah.
Are there any other changes, notations, questions?
Not in that meeting.
All right. Need somebody to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion to accept these minutes for April 27th.
There's been a motion made to accept the minutes from April 27th. And can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And motions are accepted. Staff report.
Only thing I've got is just want to make sure you've all got microphones in front of you for this one. Anybody liking to speak? Anybody that would like to speak needs to approach the podium, state your name.
No, good to go there.
They work. They definitely work.
They do work.
All right, we have some.
It's not Interpac, it's Land Consultants.
Oh, this is.
What?
On your
Yeah, I
list there.
changed it.
Yeah.
So we have some new business tonight. Is there a representative here for Adrenaline Motorsports?
Eric Lang with Land Consultants. We are the design professional on this project.
And it looks like you're requesting a variance from R1 residential to B business.
That is
for
correct.
Proposed commercial development, and the property in question is at 210 Bilby Road.
That's correct.
Can you go over the variance application, please?
The application text or just generally the overall project?
Overall project.
Okay.
The overall project.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you wanted me to quote chapter and verse
Oh, no,
out of
no.
the
Just the overall
actual
project,
application. So what we have here, Mr. Huber is the owner of Adrenaline Motor Toys, if I'm saying that correctly. His business originally was located in the barn building that caught fire down there behind Paws when that occurred 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever. His business is primarily refurbishing and selling dirt bikes, motorcycles, four-wheelers, things of that nature. He does not sell them on the open market. He sells them wholesale, basically to, say, Cycle Specialties or to a dealer that's going to have used equipment like that for sale. So what he is needing is a building in which he can operate this business. The business, as far as employees, is really just him. He does not have any day-to-day employees that he utilizes at the moment, nor has he utilized in the past. So Mr. Huber owned this piece of property up on top of the hill when the fire happened, and he has a desire to stay in Lawrenceburg. He has looked for commercial property that's big enough to accommodate his needs. I believe he is currently, or he's probably moved out by now, he had moved over to another area down near Paul's where he was able to rent some space. And then that building then got sold and he got basically kicked out of that space. So it is it's been very hard to find commercial space for him to try to stay and operate in the city. So he's decided to try to do this with this piece of property. So we're looking at a piece of property that is in a residential area, but you are up on top of that bluff that looks over the town. 5 acres roughly is what this property is. There is a fairly small developable area of land on this property, and it's considerably off the road, and it's considerably removed from the adjacent houses just by virtue of the topography. Unless you were going to spend a crazy amount of money, there's just a little postage stamp of what you can develop back there. So what he would like to construct is a building for him to operate his business out of. But what the building is going to look like is essentially, if any of you are gearheads like I am, it's the garage that you always wanted with a couple of car garage doors, and it's going to look like a really nice garage to keep your toys in. It's not going to look like a big, ugly commercial building. Ultimately, that is where he would like to stay and operate his business. The exit plan for if he would need a larger space would be to configure this such that someone could come in and convert it back to residential, build a single-family home back there, and then just have this nice 4-car detached garage that would go with that new building that would be constructed for a single-family use. So what we're showing, the building that was there, Mr. Huber's already filed his permits and had it demolished because it was in pretty bad shape to begin with, so that it's kind of a blank slate. But what we're showing is the building that he believes that he can use and grow into, a handful of parking spots, some maneuvering area for a trailer that he uses to move motorcycles and whatnot in and out, and then the necessary detention and things related to that as far as catching and slowing down stormwater and making all those things work. So it is currently zoned residential. The type of business that he would be operating would be, more of a business or a commercial business type of use. And that is what we are requesting, is to find a way to make the site work for what he's trying to do.
Are there any questions from the board?
So I've looked over this and I drove up there and I kind of got a sense that there's a lot of trees and a lot of rough terrain, like you said.
You're pretty secluded back there, yes.
But he wants to take all 5 or 6 acres and turn it into commercial versus partial. Is that correct? You want the whole,
This approval would just be for that small garage,
for that little plot?
Just for the plot that's
just
back
for
there?
what's included in your application.
Okay, good. That's, okay.
Yeah, so we're really just asking for the garage itself and the things immediately around it that would cause it to be viable as a business. Realistically, you would not buy that entire 5 acres and be able to do anything with it. I mean, it would be financially prohibitive to do much of anything other than what he's doing due to topography.
I think the question is, would that whole 5 acres be zoned as a commercial lot? John?
It's not changing zoning, it's changing use.
Huh?
It's just a change in use for this specific interest.
Yeah, so we're not asking for a zone change, we're just approval for change of use. So for him to use it for his business and that business only.
I got you.
So as far as the change of use goes, the change of use would stay with him, and if he were to ever sell that property, it would go back to residential, correct?
That's correct.
And you can make that a condition of the variance.
Right, okay. All right. What's the operating hours?
It's basically a banker's hours for the most part. It's an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Not a lot of traffic in and out, other than,
There's no retail where people are invited to come in for any reason.
okay,
So it's not a destination where you drive by, see a sign, and decide to pull in. Anyone that is going to come there is going to call beforehand and make an appointment to show up for something. It's not it's not like a skate shop where someone sees it and goes there. It's not.
not like in a commercial business, right?
No.
Yeah, I went down there too. It's pretty rough sledding to get back to that little piece of land. Any other questions from the board? Do we have any questions from the attendants? Is there anything that you'd like to say?
No, like you guys said, it's actually, you know, the property's hilly and it's tough to develop much more than probably about maybe an acre and a half or two back there, so, we have no problem with anything that they're planning on doing.
And do you live at 198 or
Yes,
190?
I live at 198.
And you have 198 and a half also, right?
I have 198 and a half also.
Okay. And you guys have no,
We have no issues with him doing what he has proposed.
okay. All right. Can I get a motion to have our attorney read the finding of fact?
I'll make a motion.
I will second that motion.
Mr. Blondell?
Sure. Again, as we've stated, this is only a use variance, not a developmental variance. So it's my understanding that the board would, or Board of Zoning Appeals would place the condition as a use, that it would be restricted to the applicant. And therefore, we have to determine whether or not it's in compliance with our ordinance. I'll read 5 individual paragraphs that relate to the statute in compliance, and the board will be required to affirm each paragraph in order for the application to be approved. So with that being said, the first application requirement is the grant will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because the business will operate during typical hours, 8 to 5 p.m., and will not create additional noise or traffic beyond typical residential usage. Does the board agree with those terms?
I agree.
I do too.
I agree.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The applicant is satisfied the first paragraph. The second paragraph, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because due to the size of the parcel, the small amount of buildable area, and the property's large natural buffer, all surrounding the proposed site, it shall be compliant.
Does the board accept this finding of fact? All those in favor say aye.
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 Can we do a motion to accept it? Motion and second on these?
Oh, you have to do a motion? Can I have a motion to accept this finding of fact?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the applicant will not likely be able to maintain his business in Lawrenceburg and will need to find another use for the large property with the small buildable area.
Need a motion to accept this finding of fact?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any variance requested presents the smallest deviation possible because the buildable area on the site severely limits the potential for expansion beyond what is represented in the site plan. Any business use will have a large buffer, a natural buffer from the residential surrounding area.
Need a motion to accept this finding of fact?
Make a motion.
And a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And finally, the fifth requirement, the approval of the variance requested is not based upon legally existing nonconformities of a similar nature in the same zoning district nor regulations from other zoning districts. And their application says no.
I need a motion to accept or deny the finding of fact.
I make a motion to accept.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Therefore, the board has indicated that the applicant is satisfied the 5 requirements according or consistent with the zoning ordinance. We'll need a motion
Yeah.
to,
Need a motion to accept the change from R1 to, or yeah.
Changing use to business.
Yeah, for residential use to business. Need a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
I have a question.
I'm allowed.
We're actually past the question.
We're motions on the floor on this one.
But there was a comment made about,
Would you like to amend your motion to say contingent upon the
That-
fact that it'll be, revert back to residential?
right,
upon change in ownership.
Was that part of,
That was part of the consideration,
that was
but
part of
we,
the consideration that was read?
Okay, okay, I wanted to make sure that was in there, sorry.
Yes.
and so the record's clear.
Yes.
This is a conditional use request, and that the conditional use will terminate upon the applicants no longer operating the business.
Okay. Correct. All right, now,
There was a motion by
now
Mr.
we had a motion,
I made it.
and we need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, there we go. Now, all those in favor of
Aye.
Aye.
accepting, say aye. Aye. Motion accepted.
Application approved.
There we go.
I'm gonna pass this down to the parties, so you just sign in the area.
Good.
I just,
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was one of the conditions that they requested, so,
It's really quite secluded.
yeah.
Quite? Yeah, actually, probably in the fall, it's probably a beautiful view of the downtown area.
You can see the whole city so far.
Yeah.
I'd imagine when they built that in the fifties, when all the trees were as tall as they were, there was a beautiful view back then. The house that was there, it had all glass on the backside of it.
Oh, really?
I hate tearing it down, it hurt,
I
but
do.
all of the
Wow.
walls downstairs were
2 or 3 months, I'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
every which way, there was no shade.
So far.
And you sign off there also, and then Jim signs it. Yeah.
Should have it. Oh, if it's tape, you don't, well, no, they don't. It's a file.
okay, we're, we have,
John, are you gonna amend that to put my name back?
Yes, yes, I will.
Well, Dale.
All right, John, do you want this signed copy, right?
Yes, please,
Okay.
for the record.
Yeah.
And then, I have no old business.
No old business?
So let's
Good.
for adjournment.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion.
There's no business. Need a second?
Second.
Adjourn.
Thanks, guys.
John, I'm gonna see if Dell's back at the office right now, because I gotta go back and work, so I'm
Okay.
gonna run it by him. Hopefully I can give you a quick answer.
Only my second rodeo.
I'll shoot it to you in an email, but I'm gonna be on the road
Yep.
all day long.
Hey, Gimpy.
All right.
Fully understood.
And then you have a chance to say hi.
Oh, what's going on?
Done deal.
He still has to get.
Just grinding along.
Pretty easy peasy.
Right?
I would think.